The following is an excerpt from the American Meteorological Society meeting in 2010.
Described to you and about which this session is dedicated is one of the rare examples you'll find in our science of serendipity. And I'll explain more about how the serendipity played a role in the development of the Hurricane Aerosol and Microphysics program. Our focus is in producing scientific results that will lead to improved forecasting of both hurricane track, but especially improved forecasting on hurricane intensity changes. We are also evaluating the various hurricane mitigation hypotheses as a secondary objective, and it was the secondary objective, in fact, that led to the formation of HAMP. We were asked at the Global Systems Division in Boulder to organize a workshop on hurricane mitigation by an Undersecretary of Science and Technology in the Department of Homeland Security. And this workshop was held in Boulder. It was sponsored by DHS. It was hosted in Boulder by Aerosol just a little over 2 years ago. Out of that has sprung the Hurricane Aerosols and Microphysics program. These are the key scientific objectives that we have in HAMP. We want to quantitatively test the most promising mitigation hypotheses by the use of rigorous numerical simulations supported by necessary observations of tropical cyclones. We also want to coordinate this particular program and use data from the NOAA DHS-supported WISDOM project and the Unmanned Aerospace Vehicles project, Unmanned Aerospace Systems project that NOAA is currently running with NASA and other agencies. The group feels very strongly, and we think we'll demonstrate in this session, is that not only are aerosols a vital component of atmospheric processes, and they play roles in larger scale processes, but they also affect cloud microphysics and dynamics, and that aerosols affect the cloud microphysics and dynamics in a very fundamental way, a very important way, that we feel has been neglected in tropical cyclones. I should tell you that the HAMP project was initially funded about 15 months ago, but we really didn't get the funding started until just barely a year ago. So the initial work you're going to hear about today is primarily looking at the role of very small submicron-sized aerosols in tropical clouds and tropical cyclones. The other hypotheses that we've listed here were summarized at the workshop 2 years ago, and these might be addressed by our modeling and observational work if we go on to phase 2 in the HAMP project. It turns out that some of our modeling results in HAMP are quite surprising in that regard, and that under certain circumstances, carbon black may actually increase hurricane intensity. And I'll let Professor Rosenfeld tell you more about that. The last one is, again, looking at relatively large-scale changes that might be done in advance of hurricanes, both very expensive and very difficult, but the only one that we're really looking at is the focus initially on the first one. So this has a long history. If you go back to Gunn and Phillips over half a century ago, they published some work that looked at the possible impacts of air pollution on the initiation of rain. So that this idea of looking at small CC and aerosols, we've suspected for years that, that they have an impact on small cloud systems or individual clouds. This is some work that Rosenfeld published just a couple of years ago, and this explains an apparent dichotomy in the role of aerosols. In some cases, there's a chain of events in which aerosols can lead to floods. There are other situations in which they could actually decrease precipitation. And as Professor Rosenfeld can tell you in more detail later, a lot has to do with his student, Mikhail Kleber. A lot has to do with whether the cloud bases are warm or cold, and the size distribution of the aerosols that affect those clouds. So both of these independent results suggested that aerosols could play a very important role in both the weakening of Hurricane Katrina. So both of these independent results suggested that aerosols could play a very important role in both the weakening of Hurricane Katrina.
Wait a minute now, what did Golden almost say? Aerosols played a very important role in both weakening and intensifying Hurricane Katrina.
And we hope in the near future, this summer, hopefully, or next summer, to put some new instrumentation that this project is paid for on one of the NOAA P3s to get data on real Atlantic tropical cyclone.
Okay, so there you have it. The American Meteorological Society knows that Hurricane Katrina was modified with aerosols. Who else knows it? The Department of Homeland Security. Golden is a member of the Royal Meteorological Society. Golden is a member of the American Geophysical Union. What are the chances that Evergreen Air does not know? What are the chances that NOAA and NASA don't know about aerosol geoengineering? Aerosol geoengineering is not a secret. It's just that nobody talks about it.